Hey, everybody. Hello. Let me know that you can hear me, you can see me, all the fun things. Let me know how your Monday's going after a nice weekend. Hey, Bob, how's it going? Awesome. Welcome. Awesome. All right. So, yay. Awesome. Everyone can see and hear me. Welcome. We are having our Photo Day webinar today on customer happiness. So that's pretty exciting, near and dear to my heart here in the customer success team of Photo Day. So yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Hey, Donnie. It is quite hot. Yeah. Summer is here for sure. So lots of editing. That's a good problem to have. So, but yeah. Awesome. Hey, Gabby. Hey, Bob. Awesome. So excited to teach you guys all about customer success, how to make your customers happy, how to achieve that as a studio, and just to kind of elaborate a little bit and to go over some questions that you guys may have specifically relating to Photo Day and customer success, and how you can make your customers as happy as possible using Photo Day in your workflow as a studio. So we'll just wait a little bit longer for people to get on that are here. So, but yeah, it's a good day. Very cool. All right. See you guys in here. All right, cool. So we will go ahead and get started talking about customer happiness. So, all right. So the first thing that I want to talk about as far as customer success goes is there's actually two types of uh, customer service that you can provide for your customers. There's customer success and then there's customer support. They are different. Sometimes they're used interchangeably and they really shouldn't be because they do provide two different levels of service to your customers. Here at Photo Day, we actually provide customer success. So very, very proud of that. We kind of work to establish basically a more proactive approach to customer service. So that is the big distinction between customer success and customer support. Customer support is a little bit more reactive, where customer success is more proactive. So you may see us kind of reaching out to you guys a little bit more proactively, seeing if there's anything we can do to help to measure. You can measure success a little bit more than you can support. And support's usually kind of like the grumpy side, like something went wrong and we're here to support you, where success is, like I said, like a little bit more proactive. You are more goal oriented with customer success. So you have a goal in mind. So specifically speaking to you guys with your studios and the customers, like the goal that you want to achieve with your customers is you want them to view the pictures that you guys create. You want them to place their order and successfully receive them. So that's a type of goal that you want to have. You also want to be able to drive value to your product. So again, with Photo Day getting to be gallery facing or image facing first, you're able to be a little bit more proactive, provide success rather than just where back in order form days, the customer would just pick one package or something like that sight unseen, and they would only get returned back what the studio thought was maybe the best image. So this way you're providing a little bit more value to your product and to your images because you're able to provide more. You have more long-term goals with customer success versus support. Support, like I said, is kind of like crisis management. Something went wrong, you're just there to solve a problem. And once you provide a solution, you kind of move on from there. That's not to say customer happiness doesn't have a blend of the two of them, but you are definitely thinking a little bit more long-term. Sometimes, you get some grumpy customers or something went wrong or anything like that. And you just kind of want to deal with the one thing, but it's important when you are developing a customer success mindset versus a customer support mindset is that you're not only just as good as your last shoot, you really are thinking long term. So you're not just thinking about like this last shoot that you had with this organization, the school or whatever, but you're really trying to book these shoots for like years in advance. And the way that you can do that is to set yourself up for customer success. That is more revenue generating that way as well. So it's a little bit more stable versus being like when you're doing a lot more support, you're just like more focused on the cost. This generates a little bit more revenue in being customer success versus customer support. So, all right. And I'm going to make sure that I have both. Okay, cool. So those are just kind of like the key differences between customer success and customer support. Again, like I'll probably just talk about it a lot, but like the biggest difference or like the biggest takeaway that you can take from the two differences is that customer success is more proactive where support is more reactive. But they both try to achieve the same goal of making your customers happy. All right. When you are deciding what type of service you want to provide to your customers, you really do need to take the time to provide or define your core values. So what is that going to stand for? Not necessarily just brand, but what are the values that you would like to execute as providing service or success or support to your customers? Here at Photoday, we have 4 core values that we try to initiate with our CS team here, but you really can take the time to develop whatever core values you want. Here we do empathy, solidarity, quality, and then craftsmanship. Those are the 4 core values that we really try to stand for. If you evolve as a brand or as a studio or as a photographer, and then your core values kind of change, whether it's like in your skill set or maybe you move or you have a life change or something like that, and your core values kind of shift, you need to go ahead and just you can change those. That's totally okay. Like for some people, here are some examples of core values. So for some studios, maybe it's like, I want to be as wealthy as possible in the shortest amount of time. Okay, so a core value is going to be revenue. It's going to be a pretty strong core value for you. Do you want to be a photographer that not only provides customer support and success to your customers, but you also want to be noted as more like educational based? You know, maybe somebody like a Jay, where like part of his core value is education. So that's something that he provides to his customers, not just like in a workshop or anything like that. So that's something that's important to keep in mind when you're developing these core values. For us, like empathy, we want to be empathetic to the studios, to the labs, to the end customer that we engage with. Like we really need to take the time to hear them out. So we provide that through empathy. And that matters in the tone that we set across to the people that we communicate with. Solidarity, having a protocol established. So, there are certain, what's your sliding scale for that? So like a really good perspective that I had pretty early as a studio was when doing volume is like, you don't know that person that's complaining is, their relationship to maybe like the superintendent, to the board member, or are they the board or league president? Like you just don't know. So treat everyone accordingly. You treat everyone as if they're the same. You can do certain things to make customers feel special, but as far as like treating people blind with a mutual respect, it's usually a pretty good idea to set yourself up for customer success when you're doing that. So, because everyone, is special because they're using your service, and you need to make them feel special. And there's just different ways that you can do that and achieve that. But establishing a protocol on how you handle those certain things is going to create like a solid front. You don't want to have the support experience where like you let something slide with like one person, and then word of mouth is so strong and powerful, and then they hear about it, and then you book another league or another school. Oh, well, you did it for this one, and you have to like, there's a certain amount of transparency that you want to communicate across, but then you start creating this, like it can unravel and get out of hand pretty quickly. So if you have a protocol and you have a certain set of standards that you execute with certain shoots, that maybe you might do certain things differently for sports than schools, like even down to your prey shoots, you may do different offers accordingly, but then you can explain that a little bit better because you have a protocol established. Quality, the service you provide. I can tell you when not necessarily photo day, but when it was just me, like the type of quality service that I would provide, I did have like a 24-hour turnaround time. So unless it was the weekend, I would provide that directly with my customers within 24 hours. So they came to expect that certain type of service from me, and the transparency of communication. And then the craftsmanship, how accurate you are with your shooting. So your shooting should be getting better. The service you provide should always be going up. And you should be, when you develop these core values and your protocols and you establish all these different goals that you want for the type of service you provide for your customers, you're able to become more and more accurate at those goals that you establish. So, yeah. Okay. Speaking of communication, do you know your customer's preferred way to communicate? And it might not be the same as yours. This is very important. If you are a studio that you try to be as like reachable as possible with your customers, that probably means that you are stretched across a lot of different communication platforms. So you're available on email, on phone number, your website, on social media. And then also when you become available, people will reach out to you in all of those different platforms. So you need to figure out for you and for the type of shoots that you and the types of customers that you have, like how are they communicating to you? What is their preferred method? Is it a phone call? This is something that maybe you'll maybe notice this in a little bit the older generation, where people always wanted phone calls. I can tell you from the statistics that we gather here at Photo Day that a lot of our customers, the people actually ordering the pictures, they're a little bit younger. They're used to being on their phones, but they do not take or want to make calls a lot of times. So they would rather text or email or slide into your DMs or anything like that. So those are important distinctions to make. Like, what is the age range of the parents and the people that are actually ordering? Who are your customers and how do they prefer to communicate? So that is something that's super important. And then to cater to all those different platforms. So let's say that a huge demographic is not necessarily phone based, but you do need to lead them to a way that you can communicate with them efficiently and effectively. So leaving a voicemail greeting that says, like, you can reach me here for the fastest response. So if they do reach out to you in a certain platform, you're kind of funneling back to one platform that you are always watching during your business hours to be able to provide that customer service. Okay, do they prefer to reach out to you by email? This works best with the Gen X generation, 41 to 56, who see emails as their main form of business communication. It's used as frequent fragments of information or statuses that need to be provided. This is not lengthy correspondence back and forth, but this is definitely just a great touch point. People are checking their emails, but they're not necessarily maybe like the whole range is not necessarily actively communicating, but they do receive communication updates through email. Social, this is for the Gen Y generation, 25 to 40, who feels most comfortable communicating on social media platforms, sometimes anonymously, as their favorite form of business communication. If you have a Facebook page or you have an Instagram page or you're on social media in some sort of platform or multiple platforms, you need to make sure that those inboxes are set up for notifications and communications for you to be able to quickly respond to the people that are reaching out to you in these platforms. Because I will say that, like, on a phone call, you can place a phone call and you don't know if they received it or not. There's no sort of like verification for that. They leave a voicemail or they don't, or sometimes you get a call. But nowadays, I've noticed even with phone numbers, like you can silence certain ones, or you don't even get it if it's not in a great cell reception area, let's say. Email, same thing. Like, emails can get lost and they can get funneled through, and if it's a back and forth, it just goes into this long thread, and there's there's a chance for missing email communications with social. A lot of those are set up to automatically tell the sender of the communication that you saw it or didn't see it. So if you do see something, it's always best to have an automated response, so you can look at it. Maybe you don't have a chance to get to it right away, but notify them that you did see it, that you're going to follow up with them with a bit more detail, and then lead them to the other path where you most frequently communicate, or because maybe they need access to something, or they have an answer that like maybe you need to attach a video or a PDF or something. You can't really do that on social. So then you just tell them, like, what's the best time for me to contact you when I follow up with more detail. Always be actively engaging. All right, chat. This is when customers go onto a website. Many Gen X, Gen Y would rather chat with a person texting on a website than call. They do this because they can multitask and they can see it as less intrusive. This is Gen Y is 25 to 40, and they are most comfortable with communicating with AI chatbots or on a website or social media. So that's usually the platform that we prefer the most, specifically here at Photo Day. But yes, customers in the chat, and like think of this as not only with chatbots and on your website as well, but texting. Think about it like that as well. So, which is the next one, why it leads into it. This is 25 to 40. This is very common. This is usually the most that you will see in the types of parents that you have today in youth sports and dance and within schools, is they're going to prefer to text. So having a phone that you understand, that you are turned on and keyed into when you are when you've established those business hours and you are working within those business hours, being able to communicate with those customers effectively. All right. So when I'm going to, I don't think there's, okay. So when a customer reaches out to you for whatever reason, there's something going on, and they need to get a hold of you, and they have expressed all of these different things. You need to know how to ask the right questions to be able to narrow down what's going on and to be able to provide a resolution for that customer. So it's important to know who they are. So asking them their contact information as well as their name, and then treat that customer like it's your best friend. This can go both ways. So as far as like you treat them with a level of respect and courtesy, and then in the way that you listen and the way that you communicate with them, but also treating them like your best friend is like being more conversational. So maybe not so stuffy and like very like corporate-y. You can, and like you even see this trend in the corporate world where corporate is starting to be more relatable and trying to become more personable to be able to communicate with their customers and to build that rapport and that loyalty. You need to be able to listen and empathize. Sometimes this is maybe why a great argument, why text and email and all of those platforms work pretty well, because sometimes it takes a little bit longer to really listen to what they're saying. Sometimes you have to reread some stuff because, tone gets lost in a lot of that stuff. So sometimes you need a second to be able to listen and then therefore empathize with your customer and whatever it is that they need. A lot of times sometimes you can be very not understand, or maybe they didn't provide enough details. So you have to be able to empathize with them, to ask more questions. And then that helps you guys both come to a mutual level of understanding so you can provide a solution. Because if something's wrong, they're frustrated. We don't know the circumstance, and like you could have been at the end of a long day of just bad why me situations, and then they're just the one thing there's it's an Office episode where Jim really just wants to see the video of his daughter doing the ladybug. She was in dance, she was doing the twirl, and then Pam couldn't record it correctly. He was very mad at her, and took a lot out on her, but it came at the end of a very long and hard day. So again, it's important to empathize with your customers, acknowledge and apologize. There is a great way to do this. You don't necessarily have to assume full responsibility, especially if it's user error, but you can apologize for the impact that it might have had on the customer themselves. So you don't have to apologize if nothing was wrong, and like, let's say the customer might have done something incorrectly. You can just be sympathetic and apologize for the situation and that you want to make it better, creating an action for that. Focus on a solution for your customers. Don't just say, well, sorry. You can give them a series of options or 1 to 2 solutions, give them a choice. And then be trustworthy. Be consistent, setting up that protocol. You don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. This is very common with creatives, where you will set a standard and then the season takes off. And then before you know it, for what used to be a 48-hour turnaround time is now getting extended to 72, or maybe now a couple days. And you don't want to guarantee anything, especially with we're experiencing shipping delays and all that sort of stuff. You'll have your pictures within 48 hours, and then something happens, and your kid Timmy sprains his ankle, and now you have to go to the hospital and you have to take care of him and all of this kind of stuff. So it's better, give yourself a buffer. Never overpromise. It's better to underpromise and overdeliver than overpromise and underdeliver. All right. So now we're going to kind of dive in a little bit on some scenarios that we see, or that you guys also might see with your customers, and how to provide them with the solution, and how to provide them with a customer success scenario or solution, rather than just reaching kind of an endpoint and not knowing what to do. So this one is, I can't find my photos, I can't figure out how to order. And just troubleshooting, and they just need a little bit of help to kind of get them through. So there's a couple of different things that you can do for this. If you're new, maybe let's say to Photo Day, and you're seeing some customers and there seems to be the support influx where they can't find something, that kind of communicates a few things. Is one, we here at Photo Day are here for you. We have a troubleshooting guide. We also have a video for your customers. So that's kind of your first line of defense. Ask them questions about where, what device are they using? What access code are they using? Are all of those different things, and just say, okay, here's a video on how you can access the gallery with the access code provided. Please let me know if that works or if that doesn't work, and then I'll be here to help you in any way that I can. Ask them how they prefer to be contacted if things don't work out. So then you can follow up with them more. Say, I would love to follow up with you in more detail over the phone, if that's your preferred method or their preferred method. Sometimes if they can't find their photos, or if there's a little bit of misunderstanding or not necessarily tech savvy, you can kind of gauge, just like we talked about before, and how people prefer to communicate. You might get this idea that maybe they're not as tech savvy, or they're a little bit older or something like that. And then if they say, I prefer a call, then you might know right there on how to handle that. So you can lead them to the video, you can lead them to the troubleshooting guide. Also, thinking proactively into the next time I do a shoot, or if I just publish a gallery, and usually an online sales cycle is a little bit longer, I might want to, on my social media page or something like that, I might want to share that video or a little bit more education, just to get, for that one person that reached out to you, there might be 3 or 4 people that didn't. So it's always a good idea to, if one person comes in, not necessarily to get frustrated, but to think about it proactively. Okay, this one person might not be able to figure it out, so I'm just going to go ahead and post this, especially after 2 weeks. If you get the bulk of your orders, or people are placing their orders within the first 2 weeks of publishing a gallery, then it might be a good idea to reintroduce that education on how to place that order, because we are also, when people opt into the gallery, we're sending out another message about 14 days after you publish a gallery to let them know that they need, reminding them to place their order, that their pictures are still waiting. So what a better way to time out that communication than they get a text message and they're not sure how to do it, and they go to your website and then they see that video on how to place an order. So they've already supported themselves. So, which is kind of nice. And then you haven't created a negative experience at all. You've just kind of set them on a fact-finding mission to solve their own issue. All right. So like the next one would be, I just placed my order, but I want to change it or I want to add something to it. Or do you have coupon codes or anything like that? So if you are someone that likes to establish offers on the front end of your jobs, or you have like promo, gallery promotional offers that will be a banner up at the top, those are always great things to over communicate, especially if they don't expire. So it's not like a 48-hour kind of thing within a flyer. Also, again, like on social media, on the league organization page, something like that. So people can really benefit from that, especially if you tie a coupon or an offer code into the league. Like the league is getting a rebate on that, or they're getting like a percentage. Then it is a good idea to get them to use them as a communication resource to provide that to customers. And then also, they just want to place their order and now they want to change it. Here at Photo Day, more often than not, all of our wonderful partner labs love to be there for you. But again, we are in the process of, or we're in the business of volume. So some labs might not be able to, once it hits a certain line in production, you can't really change it. Adding, those are done. So you can always, again, thinking about it proactively and what you can do to create a positive customer experience. They already placed the order, educate as much or as little as you would like on that, and then just give them an offer to place an additional order that they wanted to add, or you can place it on their behalf. You have their order invoice information, so you can just go ahead and order in Photo Day yourself and then just have it shipped to them. It's really just that simple. So again, always trying to be mindful, empathetic, and proactive on how you're communicating with your customers to provide a positive solution to create the best possible customer experience. Okay, and then the third one we have here is I received my order and it was missing something, or their order was damaged. In Photo Day, if you just reach out to us. That's all you have to do. So, this is where you would apologize, be empathetic. Like, this isn't how it's such a bummer. I just ordered from Amazon, and the product that I ordered was not only the wrong product, it was a return product, even though I brought something new. It was the wrong color and it was the wrong material purchased. So pretty much everything that could have been, it was here in 2 days. So that they nailed that. But other than that, everything else with it was wrong. And the experience that I had to reach out to customer support and I had to talk to them about it. They were very empathetic. They were quick with a solution. And then my product was, a new product was shipped out and it was taken care of immediately as soon as I reached out. And then they also followed up after to make sure that the not just like the automated stuff, but they also followed up to make sure that a resolution was provided, and then also to make sure that the product I got was actually correct the second time around. So those are always great things, little things that you can do like that. You can just set reminders especially with email correspondence or however you keep track of your day to day. Sometimes you can, if you have a big shoot with a lot of participation, I usually will just create a timeline where I have like Fridays. Those are maybe slow in the office days. Those are days that I'm choosing to follow up with people, following up with league organization, like anyone that's like your contact, your organization person, following up with them, seeing how things are going. Also with any parents that maybe have expressed or reached out to you, following up with them and making sure everything's okay. And then also just doing what I can to maybe post on social media or something like that to make sure that if there is something that went really well, if you got a praise or anything like that, because sometimes when people reach out to you, it's not all bad. Sometimes it's good. And if a customer reaches out to you and they loved the pictures that you provided for them, ask them for a release. And then you can share their pictures on social media because obviously they liked them and then you did a great job. So use that as an opportunity for you to grow your business. So when an order has something missing or something damaged, it's never good. Go ahead. This is where protocol really comes in handy. No questions asked. If you want to get further clarification on something, if something was missing, you can't really prove it. But if something was damaged, you can just ask them, because that also just makes the labs better too. It is unfortunate we are all human in the chain of getting these pictures from you to the customer. So accidents do happen, and it's important to be, sympathetic to that. And by asking for a picture, you just explain it as simply as that, is like, hey, can you provide me with a picture just so I can relay that to the production team so they can go, like, so this doesn't happen again moving forward. Because when it's sensing out a weak point, let's say trading cards are always like not great, something always happens, or you have a really surly postman in somewhere wherever you live, USA, and they are just like grumpy and they just keep bending your photos, even though they say do not bend, even though they're in a thick cardboard box or whatever. And you just have a lot of customers that have bent pictures. Reach out to us, and then we'll be able to hopefully be able to provide a solution with the lab where it's like, oh man, like we need to do something in order to change that. Or you have, like a lot of the customers maybe that you are at a shoot that you are working have it's in an area where there's like maybe not like a lot of residential, it's more like apartment complexes versus like houses or single family homes, not residential, that's all residential. But so that's something else to keep in mind, is like those type of things will help figure out those choke points so we can help to eliminate those for the future. All right. So those are, if you have unique situations too, just feel free to let us know. All right. So the next type of, well, before we go into Net Promoter Score, I'm going to go back a little bit. Just talking about some of the scenarios. For people that this only covers 3. And there's also like a lot more of these situations, but I would say like I want to caution you where sometimes you have taken the time to establish your core values, to figure out who you are, not only as a photographer, to invest in that skill set, but to grow, not only creatively in your skill, but also as an entrepreneur and as a business person, you are taking the time to grow your business. So it is also important to know that in doing that, there are going to be situations where no matter what you do, you cannot make Timmy's mom happy or Tina's dad. Like someone is always going to be upset, and it doesn't matter what you do. First thing, breathe. It's okay. There is going to be 1% of the customers that you help or that you cater towards or you even provide support to, that no matter what you do, they're just going to be angry pants about it. And if they are angry pants about it, then that's okay. But remember that like how you handle the situation might reflect further out than just this one angry person. So let's say that they publicly go on social media because of the age range that they are. So that's their preferred method of venting. So they go on to social media and they complain about you. Be professional, sympathetic and understanding to the situation. And then also, if they provide detail, go as far as to say like what you've done to provide a resolution and let them know that you're here for them in any way that you can be. Usually when there's no solution you can provide, that's really all you can do. They want to be angry, let them be angry. You can't change their mindset. You can't force someone not to be angry. You just give somebody the option to choose. Do they want to choose to still be angry, or do they want a resolution? So it's really up to them at that point. And you're kind of putting the ball back in their court. But don't like collapse on yourself. Some people are just going to be angry, and that's okay. So you are a part of a wonderful community that will be here for you, that will help you, that will assist you, that will breathe truth into who you are as a studio and as a photographer, and not let you forget about the 99% of your company. That's amazing. So not just that 1%. So it's just think about that for a sec. Like, I know it's so easy, and like sometimes we want to go too far, and it's just like, okay, well, people are angry. I feel like I've tried everything. What else can I do? Sometimes it just ends there. You've done everything you can. But I will say the pendulum goes the other way. And just, I would caution you on being the type of, you are in a service industry. I would caution you on being the type of person that this is what the protocol states, this is what it is, and there is no movement from that, because that can also severely limit you and the opportunity to provide a solution. So you want to create actionable opportunities to provide a solution, not just that's the way it is. So yeah, so just always think about that, but it's not always your fault. All right. So a great way to kind of get this information actively, corporations have started using what's called NPS. This is a score rating system where a net promoter score. So basically people are able to, on a scale from 1 to 10, provide a number of how they feel of satisfaction. So on a scale from 1 to 0, how satisfied are you with Netflix, Amazon, Starbucks, all these things. Photoday is also joined in on the bandwagon of the corporate culture as far as being able to ask customers and wanting to gain those net promoter scores to provide better service for the studios as well as for the customers as well. So this is something that we did release in spring of 2021, where customers will now receive a SMS text message once the order has been delivered, asking them how satisfied they are with their order and with the whole process with the studio as well as with Photoday. And then they can, if we can follow up with them, or if you can follow up with them later about that. So there are different ratings based off of the numbers that they give. And then this will show you kind of the standard that's set. So Netflix currently has an NPS score of 68. It's out of 100. So Amazon's at 62 and Starbucks is at 77. So that's pretty rad. Those aren't bad numbers at all. People like to see those and, you know, it's like, oh, well, those are a little low, but they're pretty average. I think, I don't remember if the next slide goes over that or not, but there is like an average range that like, it's not like 90, it's not grade school grades, like 90 to 100. That means like you're doing great. C's get degrees. So there is definitely a range. Okay, so this is what Net Promoter Scores do. They identify repeat business. They show you customer loyalty and creates more retention, so you're able to grow your business. It gives you a zoomed out, a macro perspective of your business and of that gallery. So we are able to collect data to validate how you're performing overall. Just not a lot of times there's this big conflict, especially with creatives, where it's just like, I feel like I'm not doing that well, or I don't think I'm doing that well. This right here, NPS, gives you very hard data to give you a macro perspective in conjunction with those thoughts and feelings and thoughts about how your studio is performing, how those galleries are doing, all that kind of stuff. So it measures everything down to quality, delivery. I need to move my face, which I don't remember how to do right now. I'm gonna go up here, over here. It measures everything from lab quality down to delivery, Photoday UX UI, the quality of the photography service that was received. So this really is you're able to kind of hone down on where some of the inconsistencies are, and we are able to kind of help create the best experience possible. So again, like we talked about a little bit earlier, where one person might reach out to you, there might be 5 more people that aren't, and keeping in mind with those age ranges again, where the 25 to 45 people really aren't responding to you over phone or email. They're kind of just texting. That's that texting culture. So Net Promoter Score, reaching out to them via text message, you might get a little bit more of an honest response than if you were to call them on the phone and ask them, you know, how their order was. So that's why Net Promoter Score is a really nice key feature to have with your business. It provides valuable insight. So you can find pain spots or choke points within your workflow. You can track your changes over time, so you can see if you're evolving. And then it's also very simple and user-friendly. The percentage of promoters versus the percentage of detractors equals your NPS score. All right. So this is what it looks like from a customer's perspective. Boom, over here again. When a customer places an order through Photo Day, they get this text message asking them on a scale of 0 to 10, how likely are they to recommend your photography company and Photo Day to a friend. They give a number, then we say, hey man, thanks. Can you please tell us why you gave us that score? And then they are able to, it's a text field. They can enter as much or as little as they want. And then we thank them for the feedback and ask them if they would let us follow up with them. If they say yes, we do. If they say no, then we don't. So our score right now is at 72% for our NPS score, which is pretty rad. We are almost just as awesome as Starbucks. So they were at 77. We're better than Amazon though, so take that, Amazon. All right. Again, when we talked about promoters as well as detractors. So detractors, this is like examples of some of the detractors that we've seen. So this is something that would bring down that NPS score. And this is just kind of like NPS and detractors. This is negative feedback, essentially. These are people that give I think it's like 3 and below as far as their score. And then this is some of the feedback that they've provided. So these are live examples of some of the NPS scores, the detractor comments that we've seen. So here we are. I'll go over a little bit of them. Some people are very specific in the detractors and the feedback, talking about photographers, the pricing, maybe the shipping, the quality of the picture or the quality of the product that was delivered. The user interface, it may not have been as easy for them as that they thought it would be, and it was a little frustrating for them in that way. They got the wrong picture. So that, again, that's down to a lab. There's so many different places that where detractors can happen as well as promoters can happen. So this is where this feedback is kind of crucial. Again, this might be something you may not have heard about directly through social media, email, phone number, or on the phone. So NPS can provide a lot of value and a lot of insight into where this is at, where some of these pain points are in a workflow. Promoters, the praises. So these are some of the live promoter scores that we've seen and some of the feedback that we've gotten from them. So these are the ones everyone always loves to see. So professionalism, quality of photos, ease of access of the photos through the online gallery, and fast shipping. That's what could be better. That's glowing. Photos have always been great. Shipping has always been fast and convenient. Would I be able to order more? So that's an amazing promoter score. Top-notch service, quality of photos, and the best in the business. These are really good. Where honestly, the promoters is where you see like a lot where, man, where you see like a lot of the interaction from like the studio to the customer. So like from actual picture day, this is where we get a lot of feedback from that. So I know that like sometimes with shoots, I mean, you have teams coming every 10 minutes, you have a 3-bay setup, and it can get kind of crazy. So you can get distracted or whatever. People are watching. People are watching and observing. So it is really nice to see that like when you get these little attaboys where it's just like, man, like they saw the time that I took to like, you know, really like hone in and just like give, you know, take the time to like pose Timmy to make sure that he, you know, gave the best smile possible, or, you know, was polite and courteous and all that stuff, answered all my questions or anything like that. Those are people remember that interaction, especially now we've been inside for like over a year with our core group. We're like interacting with the general population again. People are taking note of that. So it's like a new experience for them again. So that's really cool to see. So this is something that we actually hope to bring to you guys really soon. Again, like I said, we released this in spring. So we're collecting data currently, and this is something that we hope to release to you guys in the dashboard app soon. So you'll be able to use this data or in the dashboard, not the dashboard app. In the dashboard, so you'll be able to use this data to like grow your business, so or make some important business decisions. If you're seeing that like maybe you're not a one-man show with your photography business and you have a couple people, and then you're able to see that like, okay, this one felt a little crazy. And now I'm getting that feedback. Okay, I need to send another photographer. I need to send a coordinator for that type of shoot. We didn't lose the shoot, but it looks like I'm getting feedback that it was a little crazy, that maybe wasn't directly communicated with your organization contact. So I'm going to go ahead and be proactive. Say, hey, I've noticed that, the shoot went well and the numbers are good, but I think next time when we book for next year, I'm going to go ahead and send a little bit more support. Is that okay? Is that something that do you mind if I do that? More often than not, your organization is going to be like, yeah, that's awesome. Thanks. Like, or whatever. So they want it to be as easy for them as well. So you're able to see that also, where maybe you get some feedback that says like, the quality of pictures like wasn't that great or something. You're able to see, okay, well, this is the first time maybe I tried out composites and the feedback's like neutral at best. So I need to maybe like step that up a little bit. Maybe I should consider like a workshop, or maybe I should update my gear, or maybe I should do some tutorials to figure out if I have my lighting set up just right, or maybe I'm taking too long to turn around these pictures, and I need to consider getting another resource in order to get pictures out earlier if the feedback is something that has to do with the turnaround time and the time that the pictures were published. If people were, let's say, like they didn't know things, where like you get like feedback that basically that leads you to understand about communication, that there was a lack in communication in some way. You can work on buffing or beefing that up a bit, so you're communicating with your leads and organizations and schools and dance studios that picture day is coming. Instead of it being 2 weeks out, maybe you're hitting them a little bit quicker, 4 weeks out. Cause like I said, you never know. Like we always like use like our experience is like kind of like our neutral, but not everyone thinks or behaves or orders or lives their lives the same way that we do. So we really have to accommodate to as many people as we can, to the median of people that are our customers, and then be prepared as best we can for the detractors, or for the 1%, or for the people that are on the fringe, because there will always be those people, and it's best to be prepared for those. Then again, like I said, to provide success rather than support. So if you can get ahead. I totally understand as well that there are always going to, no matter how many times you tell someone something, they don't. You can say that picture day is this Saturday, provide the day, provide the time, send them a certified letter, wake them up in the morning, provide them coffee, letting them know that picture day is today, and they will arrive surprised. So there are just those people again. So it's just best to do not cater your business to that 1% of people. Always think about the mass majority of people and providing the best experience you can. But being empathetic, being proactive, and doing the best job that you can. This is something that you guys love to do. This is the time away from your family and friends. And this is what's keeping the lights on at your studio or at your home. So it's important that you listen to your customers and you provide them with good resources and good service, to keep them happy and to keep them ordering and to keep them booking those shoots for the future. So yeah, that's kind of it, guys. That's all we got for customer success. If you have any questions or concerns that like maybe specifically you didn't want to ask here, you wanted to maybe ask individually, you can feel free to reach out to us in the bubble. We will be there for you to answer any of your questions. Or like I said, there's more than one way to communicate with everyone. You can reach out to us via email at support@photoday.io. And guess what? We have a phone number too. You can reach out to us online, and you can and request a call, and we can give you a call back. You can find us in the users group, ask questions there as well. We're also on social media. We're all over the place. Reach out to us and chat with us and let us know. Sometimes there are very unique situations, and that you need a little help and a little understanding to be able to support them or provide them the best possible solution. But we're here for you. And then also, it's just good to be as transparent as possible, and just to be pumped that people even reached out to you for, they like what you're doing, they just have a question. It's not a bad thing. And again, if people are nasty or something like that, because everyone seems to that seems to be a very common trend of what is for a service industry, like, okay, well, support is just the negative side of things. I mean, I guess, I don't know, maybe it's just my personality, but it really just depends on how you handle it sometimes, or the intention that you set. So, and then if people are grumpy towards you, then, like, again, you don't know everyone's unique circumstance or situation. So it could just been at a very frustrating or hard time of the day, or they're having a bad week or a bad month. And we've all been there where we've had a bad day or a bad week or a bad month, and we can be sympathetic to that, and we can always try to provide them with a solution. So let us know if you have any questions or concerns, and do great things by your customers and creating successful experiences with them in the service that you are providing. And then until next time, guys, we'll see you later. Bye.